welcome to the session. We are the judges. We have been sitting the whole weekend while you enjoyed Rome, I hope, in this bunker downstairs, even more downstairs than here, windowless rooms, and worked 192 cases. I'm Bernhard Glock. Charlie put me as an Emeritus chairman, whatever that means. Maybe my age, maybe as I have been visiting all festivals and all awards of the Festival of Media from Singapore to Miami, but we'll talk this later. We have Sam from GSK, we have Tom from Heineken, and Claudia from BNP, the bank. We talk a bit about the jury, what happened, basically for you to learn, and possibly win awards next time, unless you won already this year. We will not tell you who won, absolutely, we have completely forgot that, so don't even ask. But we will tell you a bit what we saw in our experience. So the first question is to Sam. He was the president of the jury. First, thank you that you did that.
My pleasure.
First question, how did it work? How did the process work? How did we do it?
I was actually, really impressed with the process because it was a two-stage, process. There were more than about 1,000 entries in 19 categories. And in the first round, we had about 60 judges who went online and brought it down from 1,000 to 192. And then we had the second round, which was over the last 2 days, where we had about 22 judges going through each case and talking it through 19 categories. And then, doing a gold, silver, and a bronze, award. So, extremely comprehensive.
Right. For you guys, this is the first time that we did the gold, silver, bronze. All other festivals before, and it's the 8th year we do this now here in Europe for the global festival. We had just one winner and highly commended if possible, but now we have gold, silver, bronze. Claudia, what inspired you? You was the first time you were here, right?
Yes.
And were judging?
Well, many things. That's been fun. We learned a lot, and I would say there were the categories which I liked most were if you want, the more strategic and insightful, like branded content or strategy. Obviously, you see very comprehensive work there. I would say the Gillette Soldier for Women was impressive. I've seen other very funny things like very, very interesting and comprehensive things like the Dove case, of course, which everybody knows. But then we've been inspired also by more, if you want, simple or based on a simple idea, stories like the Beetle, there was Wagon Beetle, which was very funny. And also the use of media in terms of reactivity, like the Oreo case, which again everybody knows, but also what Snickers did using a concept of if you are tired, you are going to misspell on the web, which was very, very, very funny.
Yeah, there were some great ones. Tom, what inspired you as a marketer?
I thought the whole process was, the whole judging and the debate was amazing. I would recommend it to anyone who has the chance to do it. It's a fantastic tutorial for 2 days where you can hear the best debate. And the entries were almost, to me in a sense, don't take this the wrong way, the entries were almost incidental to it was the provocation of the debate they caused amongst the judges, which was really interesting. And very often the case as presented in the award was one thing, but the layers of debate that were revealed later by the judges discussing them were really good. And you could see a number of people changing their opinions as the debate went through. So I thought it was really interesting.
That's interesting. Let us talk a bit, because you were taming all these individuals, and to be honest, these folks were good. We had some advertising agencies and media agencies and creative agency people there who were more eloquent in bringing forward their views, right? So how did you tame them? What happened here, and how did you do that?
Actually, to be honest, I found, the friends from the agencies, extremely collegial. Nobody was making a big push only for their own cases. People were actually calling out cases that were not from their own agencies but from other networks, and that was great. And the other thing was the perspectives coming from the agencies and the perspectives coming from the client side, and how sometimes kind of different criteria would be more important for the two. And conversations around that, and that made it really kind of...
What were the key differences between agencies when they argued and advertisers when they argued?
I think for the agencies, a new idea, something that's new, that's exciting, that's kind of first time in the world was really what really excited them. For clients, it was about results. Finally, what's the net? What do I get out of it? And there were conversations around around that. If an agency comes to you and says that there's good news and there's bad news, and the good news is that your sales will double, but the bad news is that the idea is a really old idea. What would the client do? And the client would be really happy about it, actually, saying, my sales will double. Let's go with it.
Okay. Claudia, you're a banker now, and I know you were at BNG before, now you're a banker. Did you get inspired by some banking cases?
Yes, I wish I was a banker. In fact, I'm an advertiser at the bank, unfortunately. But now, seriously, we've seen interesting things from banks, which is nice because we are not known as being the most creative and innovative and award-winning category. But we saw an interesting case from ING in Australia. They were using events and in a very clever way to encourage people behind the promise of ING wants you to live a better life and so also wants to offer you nice moments around lunchtime, which was nice. And we saw also another case from a Swedish bank. It's called BAB, which basically was using different media in a creative way to give you the sense that, if you were not investing the money right in the right bank, you were losing a lot of money. So something quite pushy and attractive.
Now we are here in Rome, which is a beautiful place. I have not seen one Italian case. So what happens here? And then I heard Dominic Proctor talking today that the Italian advertising market crashed by 30%. Is this somehow linked that we haven't seen any Italian case here?
Well, I would have said thank you.
Sorry, put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I would have said thank you for the question, but the question is a tough one. So in any case, it's a shame. In fact, we did not see any Italian work, and I think this goes back to a few reasons. One reason is that probably Italian advertisers and agencies would rather enroll into Italian festivals. There are few known media awards that companies would participate into. Probably this festival is not as known as it could be, and I think this is a great opportunity for the future because clearly running this in here this year means that I see a lot of people and colleagues taking part actively, so we will be more motivated to participate with works next year. The other thing is that clearly the crisis has hit bad the Italian industry, which means taking part to events sometimes can be costly. And for me also a third reason is that sometimes we don't believe we are as good as the Anglo-Saxon in technology innovation or which I don't think is the case because honestly I've seen very good things in these days, but I know we're running very good things in Italy so next year. So I'll try to help to...
You got an ambassador.
Yes, to get more visibility in fact.
Thank you. Tom, you will be back in the office on Wednesday, I guess. You will lean back in your nice chair and reflect what you learned.
Smoke cigars, do nothing.
Yeah, have a beer, right?
Rely on the agency.
What basically did you learn that you will take home?
I think I learned that I think we're quite risk averse as a media operation. No fault of agency or sitting here. And I think there's a tendency to try and find proof before we do things. Will this work? And I think in the current climate, you've got to just go and test stuff. You have to leap in. You can't be crazy or foolish with money, but we need to have like any good investment portfolio, we need to set aside a sum of money to learn things. Because I'm seeing some very exciting, interesting stuff that I wonder, would we have approved that if we'd been recommended it?
Yeah. Anything you would reapply and steal shamelessly?
Oh, plenty, yeah. I think that what was most impressive, we had this discussion about effectiveness versus newness. And it doesn't have to be new. If it's effective, it'll do me. But if it's effective and new, so much the better. And we saw some quite interesting pieces where certain categories did something completely counter to the conventions of that category, but they still made it fit the brand. And I think that's what I'll be looking to do more of.
Good. More personal questions. You have a running business. You are globally responsible. You don't have time normally. So what made you come here and invest so much time over the weekend, spending the day here with us today, getting off your business, but doing it for what?
Firstly, because it was on the weekend, so it was not off the business in the sense that it was more a personal time. But for me, it was really about being able to sit down in a room, with 21 other people and talk through talk through all the cases that we did. So it's the quality of the conversation, the why not, why do I think it's good, why is it not good? It's that which I would never get. I mean, what a wonderful opportunity to be able to tap into 21 other people for a day and a half. That's why I came in.
Is there a bit of benchmarking in it as well to check what you do at GSK and check it out?
Of course, there's benchmarking, but there's like the wonderful opportunity to learn and take back stuff and do things and realize that great work doesn't have to be very complicated. It can be a really simple idea that just kind of triggers it off.
Right. We will soon talk towards the end some tips and tricks basically for you to help win awards. But I want to take the opportunity to look at you and see, are there any questions in the audience? Because I can keep going all time long, but we want to serve you as the audience. Any questions you have? Yeah, go ahead.
This is Nick Manning from Ubiquity. What were the key themes coming through? What were the main trends, particularly regarding social media as part of the communications mix? Is social media now seen to be an absolutely must-have integral part of every serious media communications program?
Yeah, let me start, and I refer to Latin America and Asia a bit because we had similar questions here, and then maybe one of you wants to chime in. Absolutely, yes. I would say it's an integral part of the awards, of the campaigns, and to be honest, it became much stronger, literally much stronger. We had issues, in fact, even in Singapore, on the depth of the good cases in the social space, similar to what we had a year before in the mobile space. So somehow we are lagging a bit the development with great cases. Also in Asia, I heard from the agencies that great cases, they have seen great cases in the region, just agencies have not handed them into the award. So maybe there's a stumbling block with a time lag where we get the good cases to award. But I've seen this as an integral part of good cases. Anything you would build on that?
For me, it's sort of obvious that you would, or it seems obvious that you would need social, but you kind of then think beyond that. Why? What does it actually add? And I think one of the big things we're wrestling with as brand owners is to not just have brand benefit but purpose. What does the brand stand for? Why should it capture the imagination of people? Why should they actually care about your brand beyond its functional delivery? And we saw some great examples. The Gillette piece in India, the Soldiers for Women piece, where the whole rape thing, big cultural issue in India, where Gillette has had the balls to, they've had the best a man can get and all that stuff in the past, but previously the best a man could get was a kind of great torso and maybe able to play a backhand passing shot or whatever. But now they're mobilizing men to do kind of basic stuff like step in if you see a woman being physically abused. So that the way that either resonates or not is through social. And they've got, I think it's 12 million people who signed up through Facebook, Twitter to get involved in that. So that, for me, that's a sign that social is not just a part of the box that you tick to show that you're on the leading edge. You're actually making it fit with your brand.
I was very pleased when I heard David Singh this morning. What he talks, which is right, we saw actually happening in campaigns already. So that was quite nice. Any other questions?
Duncan Smith, Starcom. Just building on Tom's point, old ideas can still be effective. Did you see that there was a trend, though, for innovation driving that effectiveness more than the tried and trusted? Because it's one thing we're trying to look at the moment. What degree of investment has to go behind innovation to drive business further?
Mike?
I was going to say one of the all of the things we say are without prejudice in terms of did they win an award or not. So I'm talking about something that I remember. But Tetley Tea, a UK brand, did a very innovative little piece where they suffer from the fact that the traditional ad break is disappearing. And the traditional ad break, despite what advertisers would want people to do in an ad break, people tended to go away and make a cup of tea. So with the fall in that traditional ad break, they were losing the opportunity to sell tea. So they took the pause button on a piece of video on demand and played a little ad on the pause button which said, "Are you having a break? Time for a cuppa." So that was a beautifully innovative, simple idea. Simple when you look back on it, but somebody made that leap. So a great little media innovation, but not terribly technologically demanding.
Yeah, plus going back to the Gillette case that he referred to, Gillette has been doing like that kind of an activation for the last few years. So the process is the same, but they keep kind of changing the messaging. And that's great in itself. So it's not about necessarily trying to do a new thing each time. It's the same way of activating, and it works.
To me it's just, again, useful innovation. We have seen things which were very innovative, very technological, but frankly so complicated also for the consumer to be involved in, especially when the target was not, the geek, that honestly we need to remember to be, useful and simple.
Yeah. Let's take it a step further now to translate what we just talked into tips for you, like ideas or innovation. And to be honest, what inspires us as judges is when we see a case and we see an idea where we say, sure, yes, this fits the inside. With this idea, that's a winning case. And too often, and I also did the pre-judging where you really run through 100 campaigns and you have to pre-judge them. Sometimes you just miss the point. You just don't know what they want. So be clear that if you have an idea, and I hope you have one, articulate it clearly so we see it as judges, and then get over it. Any other question? Okay, as we have 4 more minutes to go, I switch now to tips and tricks. Claudia, what would be your key tip for the audience and for the others to win awards next year?
I would say, again, simplicity, because as you are saying, to grab really the point of the... And focus on results. We were saying this was specifically important for clients, but I would say it's important in general. Now, results can be many things nowadays. So I've seen that we were more impressed by business results, by brand value results, rather than Facebook fans or views that we all know, can be generated, but can also be bought. So it's hard to say whether this is really relevant or not.
I would say think really carefully about the category you're aiming for, because if you pick the wrong one, it's not that you may not be good in a category, but there'll be someone else who's more perfect and they'll beat you. And unlike at school where you could prepare an essay and kind of busk it, you could make the essay fit the question and you'd get some kind of marks for it. Or am I giving away my own exam? But you can't. It wasn't competitive. This is competitive. So if you don't quite pitch it right, there'll be someone else who's more perfect and will beat you. So spend time, go right through all the categories. We saw a number of occasions where there was a really good case presented for a different category, but we couldn't award it.
For me, it's also about being very choiceful about the categories that you enter in. Going for 7, 8, 9 categories with the same piece of creative. You say, really, does it fit in 9? Or if you had chosen only 1 or 2, it would have really popped. And then you say, wow, that's really standing out here. So I think that would be one of my tips.
We had one case where the brand shall remain nameless, but the same brand had entered the same category.
Oh, yeah.
And they ended up cannibalizing each other's vote. And
yeah,
collectively, there would have been 1. It would have been first position. But because they fragmented the vote, they were 4th.
Right.
And we then had to think about, is this an unintended consequence? But so, don't cannibalize your own efforts.
Other questions? One thing I noticed very often, definitely in the pre-judging, many cases just miss the basic structure to outline what is the insight, what's the idea, what's the strategies or the choices you take, how does the execution look like, and how do results look like. It's pretty simple. This is kind of the steps we go through. And if you miss one, you're missing it. Just keep in mind, we have 192 cases to see in 1.5 days. You just don't have time to majorly think through. Just tick the boxes and go through. Another point is language. Many of us are not English native speakers. And if you have a voiceover with a Scotsman, speaking fast like David Chin did, it just doesn't work. I had looked into blank eyes and some people just didn't get it. Or sometimes simple things in execution when you have a video and you have lots of text and you do switch to the next slide too fast. So judges can't even read the stuff, or even results you don't read. Or you train me to read something at the bottom. Okay, I read at the bottom, and then suddenly the results show up at the top. Until I notice this one, the movies went on, and you don't have time. So take care on, I call it in business as well, brilliant execution. Just make it crystal clear. Best in the first 15 seconds, tell me what it is about, but then I tick the box and say, I get it. Otherwise, I'm trying to juggle and have 10 cases in the back, 5 to go, and you're out. It's pretty simple as that. Maybe one reflection, as I'm the continuity in this panel, so I accompany all awards from Miami for Latin America, Singapore in Asia, and here in Europe for the global award. So I've seen, I think, 15, 16, 17 cases. This one has literally been the best one. Not only that we have winners in almost every category, I already give you some hints. Almost every category, but we had gold, silver, and bronze, and we had choices. Sometimes, I remember Miami or in Singapore, we were struggling to just have a winner. And we were kind of congratulating ourselves to say, oh, at least we got a winner, so we have a good category. But here we had choices, and we had some long debates. I remember, I think the communication planning case was really difficult. I mean, we voted and voted and voted as we couldn't make up our mind. It was 7 here, 7 here, 10 there, 10 there, and we just went on and on. And even once, I think you had the president vote, right?
Yes.
What was that?
We won't give it away.
Yeah, very good. Now, if you couldn't agree on something, Mr. President had the final vote and he voted for it.
Do you want to talk about the new categories that we came up with?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. We had three new categories. How did they come along?
We had research, we had data, we had technology, 3 like really exciting areas. We really wish that there were more cases. And as there were folks from the agency sitting there, oh yeah, we know about great work that's happening in our agency in this area. So well, let's go out and put it out there. But it was great to like see the cases. We just wish there were more cases in those 3 areas. Really important, 3 areas for us.
Okay. I say thank you very much to the judges. Thank you to you for having joined us. The show goes on. Please join us in the
Thanks, Bernhard.
podium.